Alright, so let me just start by saying I want Anthem to do well, because there's a lot of features that I truly enjoy. There's also some I don't, but that's probably true of every single game ever, so yeah, it is what it is. I enjoy the loot, the grind, a large chunk of the combat and the core gameplay, the diversity in javelin design, the movement, and much more, but the game is nowhere near as well rounded as most of its supporters are claiming. The demo offering is objectively poor, not because of conceptual reasons, but because of technical polish levels. Most of the first day was relatively unplayable, especially on Xbox. A myriad of other issues affected player connectivity, forcing restarts frequently, and even things like falling through the map, getting infinitely stuck, desync, frame rate problems for some players, you name it. When those issues were not present, yes, the game definitely offered enjoyment. I can't rightly say that it was enjoyable for everyone, that's hugely subjective, but it was enjoyable in many ways for me and a lot of other gamers. The reason we need to talk about it is because glossing over every single flaw, sometimes major flaws, in an attempt to shame critics or skeptics is not only annoying and ignorant, it's actually damaging to Anthem itself, and hopefully this is the one way I can break through to some of the more diehard fans. If you made a pros and cons list, Anthem would have a healthy selection of both, at least for the majority of reasonable gamers it would. The delusional types that want to hype it up as the second coming of Christ would have all positives, no negatives, and the vindictive types that want to punish EA or BioWare as much as possible will likely have all negatives and likewise no positives. But of these attitudes, both of them are damaging to Anthem to an equal degree, which may sound confusing, but let me explain. Obviously, boycotts hurt games. Encouraging your friends not to buy, canceling your pre-order, etc., etc. All of these things and more contribute to the likelihood that Anthem will underperform at launch and subsequently fall on tough times with an uncertain future. I already covered that in a previous video though. Inversely, hyping the game up and overlooking its many sections of mediocrity and failure helps create unrealistic expectations and can lead to a slight bump in pre-orders, maybe, a larger day one audience, perhaps, but it creates a tapered player base effect as the game fails to live up to many expectations. A large player base decline within the opening weeks of launch can be equally as damaging as inadequate initial sales. Players that actually care about the longevity of Anthem and having a realistically informed buyer's market would be analyzing, for instance, the numerous and striking similarities to Mass Effect Andromeda, ranging from combat movements to weapon effects and enemy archetype design. Players that have no understanding of the push and pull relationship the AAA gaming space has now become will simply try to yell at everyone out there who insults their precious overhyped favorite new title. I had someone whine about how I was bullying EA. Yeah, I'm not even kidding on that one. They think that making a joke trailer as a sort of commentary on the discrepancies between promotional marketing footage and final product qualifies as bullying. Bullying a multi-billion-dollar company that has numerous AAA titles worth many millions each.
Leave EA alone. Leave him alone.
Anyways, there would be legs for this counter-criticism if BioWare had not opted to brand the offering as a demo. The terms demo, beta, and even alpha now are just horrifically misused. The alpha stage is usually a very low-profile series of technical tests to make sure the game functions on a rudimentary level. The beta stage is a significant step up, and the game's framework and other major features are fully developed, though lacking polish. This is an ironing stage where games receive bug fixing and other fine-tuning. The demo stage is a slice of the finished game that is offered to potential buyers as a purchasing barometer and is supposed to be indicative of the final product. The problem with the modern industry is that this roadmap has been thrown out the window, and Anthem took it like 5 steps further. Nowadays, alphas sometimes remain the same, but other times are marketed and sold for a price tag as early access, well before they are ready for public use. This is most typically seen on Steam and is not usually indicative of the AAA releases. But then there is the beta stage. The beta stage has been largely perverted by the AAA space specifically, and now represents a slice of what turns out, more often than not, to be almost the exact same thing in line with the final product. And it's a small slice that is taken out and used as an incentive to get players to pre-order the game. Worse yet, sometimes these betas are even offered mere days or weeks before release when there is obviously no possibility of meaningful change at that point. And to top it all off, sometimes the progress now even carries over. See Fallout 76, where the same old tired claim was made of,
"It's just a beta, they will fix it at launch."
Lastly, demos are largely extinct on the AAA level, but Anthem made a play at reviving them. It failed. Anthem went straight from closed alpha, barred behind non-disclosure agreements, a fairly standard practice nowadays, right to the VIP demo segment. It also took the expected format of offering a slice of the game that was an acceptable baseline for final product experience and murdered it by releasing a demo that was already 6 weeks old and would have drastically different balancing and a completely different economy. I've mentioned it in a couple of videos now, but it's a key point to make because had they not done this, most if not all of the current criticism would be very different or largely countered. Anthem has a lot going for it. The looter shooter genre is very popular, and there is a quality argument to be made that despite its current rocky public sentiment, most of the Destiny, Warframe, and Division audiences are well aware of the game, each with their own very large player base, by the way. And out of those huge established groups, full of players that are fans of the genre, it will likely be able to siphon off a very large number of sales. That's a valid point and one that contributes to my assessment that the game will, for all intent and purpose, be received as a decent release. That's not enough for EA and BioWare, but again, I won't rehash those topics. If Anthem shifts away from their current rewarding loot structure, if they implement a pricing model anything even close to what has already been leaked as a work-in-progress version or model, and if they indeed make drastic changes to some of the most compellingly positive features, it will contribute to a massive player base decline immediately after release. The idea that players should not be very critical of Anthem is fundamentally damaging to the game because players voicing criticism is one of the only mechanisms to improve game quality nowadays. A perfect example can be seen within Anthem itself already. Players, myself included, criticize the game for being an extremely antisocial take on forced multiplayer online-only gaming. What's the point in not even having a social hub when you require every single player to have a constant internet connection and treat the game almost like an MMO? Well, directly because of that criticism, the game is now incorporating a shared world hub called the Launch Bay. If the fanboys had gotten their way and successfully silenced critics, protected their feelings, and shut down all skeptics, the game would not have launched with a social hub outside of direct mission interaction, where players could hang out with each other, show off, use emotes, and experience at least a portion of what should be expected from an online-only social game. I made a joke trailer where I juxtaposed current in-game footage with the E3 2017 in-game material. Fort Tarsis is not the same thing. Not even close. The point I was trying to make is that holding companies accountable will help create reasonable promotional material in the future. With reasonable marketing material comes reasonable expectations. From there, it becomes more normal to have healthy player-based retention for more than a few days or weeks post-launch. And in the end, the industry and gamers themselves benefit because games release as expected, containing what was advertised, and they live up to their hype. I'm not trying to tell players they can't enjoy Anthem. They absolutely can, and I'm right there with you in a lot of different ways. The Colossus, with its autocannon and railgun, seriously fun. Earning loot rewards that feel powerful, new, unique, and valuable, that's a feeling I chase as a gamer. But pretending that offering a demo, huge air quotes around that by the way, as broken as Anthem's is okay, pretending there are not looming issues with the monetization of cosmetics, balancing, and issues in many other areas, it's dishonest and it's damaging. The quest marker is the epitome of casualized handholding. It points directly at whatever the next objective is and trivializes what could be very fun exploration of Anthem's unique environments. The open world feels unbelievably barren. It's pretty, but it's not a living world. Enemies do not interact, and there is nothing like the E3 2017 reveal of the Brute fighting the dog beasts. And the list could go on, but the point remains. Anthem has potential, but it needs to be evaluated for what it is, not what we desperately hope and want it to be. I don't create critical videos simply to bash games. I create critical videos to help spur discussion, and in multiple cases, to what exact degree or amount I am unaware, but numerous times that discussion has absolutely helped benefit various different games. I enjoy enough aspects of Anthem so that I wish to see it succeed, at least well enough to stave off EA and remain supported by BioWare, but that will not happen if the community does not create reasonable expectations and evaluate the game properly. The faulty practices are not less faulty because 2 out of the 3 hours you attempted to play Anthem, it went fairly smooth and you got such a boner, you forgot that the other third of your time was spent in loading screens or falling through the map or restarting the game. Furthermore, in a third-person looter shooter, character appearance is an integral part of the game. A massive chunk of the player base would not even be considering Anthem right now if the cosmetic customization were not so robust. If they corrupt that area, which is the only area that they have available to them for direct monetization without breaching prior statements and being caught in an open lie, if they corrupt that section of the game with predatory pricing and throttling, it will further degrade the game's potential. And speaking openly about that, being vocal on it, and toning down the fanboy fanaticism is the only way to help ensure it does not come to pass. In the end, the most I can do is vocalize my thoughts and hope to have a positive effect through articulate criticism. But that's really all I have for today. I'll wrap it up there. If you want to support the channel, check out the links down below. We have esports merch, various gaming communities, a sponsor that allows you to play PC games with maximum settings on pretty much any device through data centers. It's pretty neat. There's more to it, but I'll leave it at that. And it might be useful for some players out there. It's called Shadow, and if you want to check it out, use code UEG at checkout for a very big discount. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, and have a nice night.